Bye.
I love you.
Thank you.
Patching you into Mr. Wayne.
No, please don't.
I need you here now, Barry.
The Flash is finally here. Years and years of waiting has brought us Barry Allen to the big screen in his own movie. The Flash, Barry Allen has to go and save his mother from being killed to exonerate his father and possibly create a better future. But ultimately, he causes the movie to happen. So, in the long term, does the Flash meet expectations, or is it just a literal flash in the pan? Well, to answer that question, we need to dive in deep, folks. We need to talk about this film. And look, look. But no, seriously. I do not agree with the people who are saying this is one of the greatest comic book movies ever. However, this is a fun, lighthearted, emotional in the right points, campy, fan servicey in a lot of ways film. This is a good time film. Let's just address the elephant in the room about the Ezra Miller stuff. Obviously, we all know, or at least a lot of us know, especially those who stay in the movie sphere, about everything that was going on with Ezra Miller, from the choking the girl out in the bar, to breaking into houses, threatening people, grooming out. A lot of stuff has happened with Ezra Miller. And there were people pensioning for maybe, the people asking whether or not this movie should have been released or not. Well, the correct answer is yeah, for multiple reasons. One, if it just sat on a shelf, that's $220 million plus that was just gone. And you might say, well, Batgirl didn't get released. They made Batgirl, and that they threw that away. But from all accounts, Batgirl absolutely sucked, and they didn't spend anywhere near so much money on it. So there's that. But B, and I think this is actually the more important thing, no one seems to get. No one. And I was watching one guy I like and kind of go to agree with say how they were rewarding Ezra Miller for his bad behavior by releasing the movie. And I'm like, all right, new dealer, I'm out. Sorry, dude. I just can't watch your stuff now because I now get the mentality you have. Or at least in that opinion. And I'm like, that just turned me off. If you honestly believe they're rewarding Ezra Miller for this, you're crazy. You're biasing you're showing your own. What happened here? There we go. Sorry, my OBS got all weird for a second. You're showing your own. You're showing your hand. You're showing your bias because Ezra Miller may be the lead of the film, but guess what? The film is not his film. It's not a film. It's not a film that Ezra Miller is going to make gobs and gobs of money on for whatever reason. He might have some back end points or whatever. He didn't direct it. He didn't produce. He just started. He was an actor for hire, just like every other performer in there. Everyone else who worked on the film, director, producer, VFX, the works. So to say that they're rewarding Ezra is stupid because it's not about Ezra. It's about everyone who went into making this film. Now, look, if you can't separate that, I don't blame you. What Ezra Miller did was terrible. And, hopefully they do get help. And it sounds like they're at least, if court mandated or whatever, getting help, which is good. So, yeah, I was willing to separate my opinions from everything else and go in and watch the film. And as I said before, I really enjoyed the film. It was a lot of fun. It hit me emotionally in the right, especially when you're talking about a movie about going to save your mom from dying. Obviously, if you've been following me for the last, good couple of years now, you know that why that resonates with me. So, and there was a moment, and you see a bit of it in the trailer where he's talking to his mom and he's frozen in time. And he's not. He's both frozen and not frozen in time. But he's talking to his mom, and yeah, I was starting to get choked up watching that scene. So I think they hit that chord right. But the movie does its job. The movie about the Flash is definitely about the Flash. The bit players play their part very well. They get the ones you want to see get a lot of screen time. It all comes together pretty nicely. Before I gush more about it, though, let's just get out of the way. It is not a perfect film. Oh, God, no. It's not a perfect film. Right out the gate, the VFX. There are VFX problems in this film. Problems is not the right word. Allegedly, Muschietti, the guy who directed this film, said that it was a stylistic choice. He better be joking about that, because you got to be kidding me. There are scenes that look straight out of a cutscene video game, and not one from the last 5 years. For example, the way they depict time travel is actually very unique. Apparently, each and every like timeline, like a universe, is like a coliseum of events and memories, and he's traveling through them, and you can see like the events, the people, all that, and that's great. And that's a cool depiction, but when they look like they belong in a 2010 video game, now I can maybe forgive that because it's the time travel stuff, but when your Flash running at super speed also looks the same, that's a problem. I will also say that there are plot points that, like, they try to explain how time travel works in this, and I'll be honest, even someone like me who can follow like multiverse shenanigans pretty well, alternate timeline stuff, I did have trouble understanding what they meant by how time travel worked here. So because of the multiverse and all that, okay, it's a little shaky, but okay. And look, Ezra Miller's literally two halves of this movie, because as you see, he's interacting with his younger self in the timeline he's stuck in. And yeah, look, our main Barry, you like. He's awkward. He's a little nervous around people. He even says he's not good with people, but he's still, there's an endearment about him. And especially when he's literally taking things seriously, and he knows what's at stake. You buy him as a hero. You like him as a hero. He literally has a conversation with himself. Like, do you realize how much you're talking and how irritating it is? How it's not endearing. It's like, oh my God, I finally realized what people are talking about. Like that self-realization. There's scenes like Batman's in it, but not just Mike P, but Ben Affleck's Batman's in the movie. He's in it for the first third. He doesn't come back. Well, kind of. But I don't want to give too much away, obviously. But he's in the first third, mostly. Let's put it that way. And he serves his job well. He does his job well. But there is also, it was spoiled. It was brought up she was in the movie. So I will say this. Wonder Woman is in the movie for a scene. And there is a hilarious scene involving her, Bruce, the Flash, and the Lasso of Truth. It mirrors the scene in Justice League, the Whedon version, where Aquaman is sitting on the Lasso of Truth, which was I actually think a funnier scene in Justice League. I like the Whedon version. I liked Snyder's cut better. I do agree, though, it should have been cut the hell down. You did not need it to be 4 hours. But again, that wasn't even going to come out initially, and we got it. We should be grateful, but no, people didn't start to bitch to bring back. It's like, just be grateful, you ungrateful SOBs. Those fans who were just like, get read the Snyderverse back. It's like, you don't care about Snyder and what's going on with him. You just care about what you want. Just shut up. Anyway, I'm getting bitchy again. So yeah, there's a very hilarious scene with them. But then there's also the scene Barry has with Bruce, and I've now just completely went off the rails. There's one other thing I didn't like about the movie that much, but I'll get to that back in a second. There's that scene Bruce had. You see him, and you see it in trailers all the time, so there's not much to talk about. There's not much to add to the scene that's not already in the trailer. Just a bit, and the context is important. But that's actually a really good scene between the two of them. Bruce talking about why time travel is dangerous, why they shouldn't do it. It's like, I can save your parents. And you see the look on Bruce. And hats off to Ben Affleck. This is his last time playing the character, to the best of my knowledge. Or he might be in Aquaman. Because I think Keaton was supposed to be in Aquaman, I think Affleck is supposed to be in Aquaman, isn't he? He's supposed to make at least an appearance. So this might not be the last time we see Ben Affleck, at least not yet. But maybe it is. Who knows? But anyway, this was a solid performance. I will say one minor nitpick about Batman: they altered his voice. He sounded more like just Ben Affleck doing the Michael Keaton voice, trying to change his voice up a bit instead of the modulated voice he had in BVS and Justice League, which I actually liked that a lot. But no, to sum up, I heard, and I watched Doug Walker, and I love Doug, I do. But I watched Doug Walker's review. It says like, these scars make us who we are. We're not supposed to go back and change them. Something along those lines. And he says, yeah, really smart coming from Batman. But I watched the film because I watched that prior. I'm like, I watched it in context. No, he fully admits that, yeah. My parents' death made me a hero. It also made me alone. I've made the choices. You gotta live with the choices you make and do the best you can. And then there's a scene, and then after that, without going into Barry just asks him a question, like, without too much of it, like, you just ask him a question about, you don't have to be alone. And you see the kind of like, Bruce wants to say yes to what he just said, but like, maybe another time. Like, you can see the tired hurt in that man. So yeah, I actually really dug that scene. But the one other thing I didn't like, at least for the majority of the time of the movie, up until we got to the climax where it actually finally came together, young Barry, is so effing annoying. He has jokes that work, but there's only so much the Pauly Shore, and that is exactly what he's playing, by the way. Pauly Shore and like Biodome. Biodome's not a bad one actually to compare him to because, one second, I'm gonna just adjust the lighting real quick. There we go. And he's playing Pauly Shore from Biodome. This constantly laughing, constantly stupid. I mean stupid character. Like they go to see this clip's up here. They go to meet Bruce Wayne. They go to see Batman, and he's like, "Wait, he's Batman?" He's like, "What did you think we were doing here? I thought this was the Cousins dinner you're talking about." Like, what? There comes a couple times Barry has to tell him to shut up or be like, "Take this seriously, please." And the few times that this Barry works is when he's actually kind of calling the other Barry, our Barry, a little out on that. It's like, I was just doing a laundry when you came in here and told me I'm a goddamn superhero, okay? So I did respect that. But when you see where the character ultimately goes, it does make the character work at the end. And so, yeah, that would be the only other complaint I really have with the movie. Other than that, though, you get Michael Keaton back as Batman, who they do kind of acknowledge is not the one-to-one 1989 Batman throughout that continuity of films. But he's a very, very, very similar Batman with a very similar history. And Michael Keaton, man, I love me Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton in general, not just Batman. But he is still my favorite Batman. Ben Affleck actually might be my second favorite Batman. And we'll see what the new guy, whenever they get him in, will do. But Michael Keaton, again, it's just the nostalgia of seeing him in there. Yeah, it's a stunt man doing the combat stuff most of the time. But when you see him do it, when you see him fighting, you see him in the suit and all that, it's still pretty awesome. I'll admit, the suit, I would have liked maybe a bit more of an update on the suit. He does look a little awkward in it. Actually, there's a scene involving him in his mansion with Barry and the two Barrys, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, and then when he actually helps out in the fight, damn, it's still good to see Michael Keaton kicking ass, even if it is a stunt man or CGI, whatever. It's still awesome. And yeah, and he kind of has his own arc too. He's in a very down place in his life, but for different reasons than say like a Batman Beyond Bruce is. And then you have Kara. Okay, that one I'm gonna have to find the name on because this is her film debut, so I don't actually know the actress's name. Let's see here, The Flash. Now, anyway, that song's not in the film. There's another song, I think it's a Rolling Stone song that's in there, but it's not that. Let's see here now. Who played Cara Zor-El? Super. Is it Helen Slater? No, that's nope. Sorry, that's okay. Just a little spoiler there. That Supergirl shows up in the multiverse scene. You've been hearing a lot about cameos. That's a cameo that shows up. Oh, Sasha. She technically got top billing on Rotten Tomatoes. Or sorry, IMDb. Sasha Cayley. Sasha. So they do, because this is in part the Flashpoint paradox. They are doing things differently. They find Kara and not Kal-El. Kal-El does exist in this world, but I won't give away how that happens or how that went down. But I will say this. She has a great look. The character isn't given much to work with, is the thing. Her direction is making her kind of seem a little emotionless, but given the fact that she was held captive for God knows how long with no exposure to the yellow sun radiation, it's a kind of forgivable the way she's acting. And for what she's asked to do, it works. And I liked seeing her on screen. She had a great look to her. Absolutely, I loved her look. And yeah, because this is a bit of the Flashpoint paradox to a certain degree, there are a lot of cues taken from that. If you know what to look for, you know what to look for. And I mean, technically speaking, the Kryptonian fight is the final fight, but there's more to it. Michael Shannon's just there. I'll say that. Michael Shannon's there. Does his job fine, but he's just there. The whole Kryptonian fight sequence is pretty fun. That's a lot of fun. Again, some more shaky CGI, but a lot of fun. And then you get into what the final act of the movie actually is. Now, if you think on it for a little bit, you can kind of guess what was going to happen, at least in part, based on what happens earlier in the film. Not giving anything away. But I was curious. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know what this is, but let's figure out how they're going to rectify it. Okay, they're going this route. And it leads ultimately to kind of the moral of the film a bit. When you really think on it. With a catch-22 on the moral. Well, not even with a catch-22 on it. It's like, yeah, you can't change things without changing things. That's it. Which basically leads to, I didn't realize there was a post-credit scene. I didn't really feel like staying. And if I understand this, it was just a comedic scene. But still, I would have liked to have stayed for it. But we get the last scene with Barry and a character. And I'm like, okay, that one I did not see coming. Hats off. Like, I saw they've already spoiled the Nick Cage one. I didn't see the Supergirl one coming. There was one or two other ones they did that I didn't see coming. But that one at the end, I chuckled hard at that cameo at the end. And hey, look, if I can look that good at his age, I hope to God. I spoiled this in key. I hope to God I can look that good at his age. Anywho, I digress. So look, is The Flash a perfect movie? God no. But is it a fun movie, entertaining movie, and I think a good movie? Yeah. I'd say it's a good movie. If someone wanted to see it again or see it, I'd be willing to go again, 100%. So that's my thoughts on The Flash. Now, there is not going to be a review for Elemental this week. Honestly, I have a vacation in about a week coming up. Not this coming week, but the following week. What I think I'm going to do is save Elemental and anything else I'm going to play catch up on for that week. Because that's also the week of Indiana Jones and the Teenage Kraken, which I have a viewer who likes me to review the animated movies that come out, all of them if I can. So I'll probably be at that too. But I think I'm going to save Elemental, at least Elemental, for next week. Not next week, but the following week. But I do want to see Elemental. Elemental's on my list of things to see. So anyway, I digress. What do you think of The Flash if you've seen it? I do not know, by the way. I cannot gauge right now how well the box office, how good of a box office it will have this weekend, or how good of a legs it's going to have. I cannot gauge that right now. But we'll find out. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.